Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to all the members of my Patreon channel. Patreon, the place where you can find extended versions of my long-form videos that cannot be shown on YouTube. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, Cash App and PayPal are available. Just be sure to let me know in the For section if it's okay for me to mention you publicly, or else I'll assume you'll want to remain anonymous.
And here we go.
Layman's Journal Chapter 230. Today we're going to talk about... You know what? Fuck the intro. Let's get it. So the other day, Disney released their first trailer for the Agatha Harkness series, Agatha All Along. And the first thought that popped in my mind was, who is this for? You see, Agatha All Along is a split from a split, a spin-off of a spin-off. The character made her debut in WandaVision, and WandaVision is based on Wanda Maximoff, who is now known as the Scarlet Witch, and she made her debut in Avengers Age of Ultron. So all of this was made possible because of phases 1 through 3 of the MCU, or what is now known as the Golden Age of Marvel. And it was men, primarily white men, but men in general, who made all of that happen. So without men, there wouldn't be an MCU, there wouldn't be a Wanda Maximoff or WandaVision, and there wouldn't be a platform to create an Agatha Harkness series. But when I look at the cast, I see a bunch of middle-aged women, a coven no less, on a quest to gain or regain their power as witches. So there's your first progressive message, women's empowerment. And they're accompanied by what looks to be a young beta male, whose purpose I'm sure is to serve as comedy relief, and to assist the coven on their journey. Or maybe he wants to be a witch too, because it is 2024 and you've got to fill those quotas. And that's progressive message number 2. Fellas, stand back and take a subservient role as women lead. Now, Aubrey Plaza was also featured in the trailer, and that's a good thing. There's no doubt she'll drum up some interest, with her being the only marketable talent in the series. But my point is, with that cast and those characters, who the hell are they making this for? It appears to be a show for women and girls, but this is an MCU project, a comic book project, and if history is any guide, it's going to fail, because women don't support the superhero genre. The Marvels, Madam Web, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Quantumania, Wakanda Forever, all of those female-led superhero properties within the past 5 years have failed.
Wait a minute, Layman. Wakanda Forever made $800 million at the box office. I think you made a mistake.
No, I didn't make a mistake. Wakanda Forever was a failure. Yes, it made more than $800 million at the box office, but the first Black Panther, adjusted for inflation, made $1.6 billion, meaning Wakanda Forever was a 50% drop-off in revenue.
God damn it.
With a bigger production and marketing budget. Now, I don't know where you're from, but where I'm from, we call that falling off. That's a massive failure. And most of the people that did go see Wakanda Forever did so because they were curious as to what they would do in the absence of Chadwick Boseman. So it was a voyeur factor. It was the same thing that made Captain Marvel a success. People went to see that movie because they thought it would be a tie-in between Infinity War and Endgame. And that was confirmed by the recent failure of the Marvels. And the same will happen with the Black Panther franchise. Now that people know, it's another franchise all about the girls. As the third installment, which Disney has yet to announce, will be an even bigger catastrophe. Hashtag recast T'Challa. But getting back to the video, taking a genre that is dedicated to men and using it to pander to women doesn't work. So for the third time, who the fuck are they making this project for? Now that's a rhetorical question because the answer is no one. No one asked for this series, and no one will watch this series. But getting on to my next point, that last portion of the trailer.
Follow me, my friend, to glory at the end.
I laughed when I heard that, because the first thing that came to mind was
The power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
yes, that god-awful Acolyte series. So MCU witches, intergalactic Star Wars witches, different setting, same vibe. And this series will likely have the same outcome. And with that said, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to laugh when it comes out. So I'm gonna close things right here. I didn't really have much to say about this project because there's only a 2-minute trailer, but I really need this video to last 8 minutes. So here's a trailer for my latest video, Marriage Story, the myth of the deadbeat father and what it taught me about divorce. Layman's Journal Chapter 227. Oftentimes, when there's a divorce, the woman's side of the story is the only story we tend to hear. And that's largely because women like to share. They're comfortable expressing their feelings and emotions, and they'll tell anyone, even a stranger, when something is going wrong, especially in regards to their marriage or relationship. And when it comes to divorce, when you ask them why they're leaving or have left their husbands, which they tend to do, as 70 to 80% of all divorce filings are done by women, they'll tell you he cheated. He was verbally, physically, psychologically abrasive, narcissistic, or even a gaslighter. Or they'll say he neglected her, didn't see her as a person, support her goals and ambitions, or he was emotionally unavailable. But oftentimes they'll say they just weren't happy, because Hollywood has convinced them that marriage is supposed to be a never-ending romance, a constant state of euphoria where they're never bored, and their husband wasn't exciting, daring, or spontaneous like many of the men we see in the movies. My point is, they'll tell you everything he did wrong while conveniently omitting all the things they might have done wrong. Yes, he may have cheated, but she was withholding sex, as well as having an emotional affair with another man. Yes, he might have been abrasive, but so was she. Now, he may not have been supportive or emotionally available, but that's because he's working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, so she didn't have to. He may not have supported her dreams, but that's because her ideas were either stupid or financially destructive. Whichever the case, there are two sides to every story, and they aren't likely to indict themselves. Because they like having support. They like being surrounded by people that affirm or sympathize with their emotions, but also because men tend to be stoic. We're not comfortable sharing our emotions, confiding in others, nor do we seek help when things have gone wrong. We like to man up, ride it out, hoping our problems will just go away on their own. So while we're silent, riding out the storm, pretending as if our problems don't exist, women are pleading their case and winning everyone to their side, and blaming their husbands for everything, convincing everyone they know that he's the villain. And it's been to our detriment, because now the public perception is, whenever a woman files for divorce, the man must have done something wrong. Or in the rare occasion that a man files, it's because he's abandoning his family. Whichever the case, she's always the saint and he's always the sinner, because she's the one telling her side of the story while he remains silent. And that public perception has led to public policy, the creation of a family court system that overwhelmingly favors women, that in some cases financially incentivizes women to leave their husbands, especially when there's no prenuptial agreement in place, where, as a default, she gets the house, custody of the children, and half of the financial assets, as well as child support and in some cases, alimony. Now there are exceptions. Certainly we've seen Halle Berry, Mary J. Blige, and Wendy Williams take it on the chin. But those are exceptions, not the rule. Typically it's the man who loses everything. And the movie Marriage Story is a prime example of that. In spite of what the title and thumbnail suggest, it's a story about divorce, and it shows in great detail how it can ruin a man and push him to extremes from which he may never recover. Now, I've never been married, nor do I have children, and thus have never experienced divorce or a custody battle. Everything I know about marriage and divorce is based on secondhand knowledge. However, I am a man who aspires to be married. Yes, even after seeing this movie and witnessing what others have gone through, I still want marriage. And in that regard, I believe I am qualified to speak on this topic, because the movie also serves as a cautionary tale of what can happen in a divorce, specifically in regards to men who aren't prepared or walk into it haphazardly. It lets us know, in today's Western culture that caters to the needs of women at the expense of men, that yes, this too can happen to you. And in that regard, it's not your typical Hollywood love story, This doesn't have a happy ending. To the contrary, Marriage Story is sobering, and it does not attempt to hide anything. The characters are open about their feelings, and they don't shy away from expressing the way they feel. And you can watch that video in its entirety without obstruction, commercial interruption, or excessive editing exclusively on Patreon. So please be sure to check it out, it's some of my best work. But that's all I have to say about it. What do you have to say about it? Leave a comment in the comment section and let's have a conversation.
How am I spending my Friday? Some jerk chicken with rice seasoned, red beans and some bread. Got some red wine over here. And I'm watching Layman's Journal on YouTube. Shout out to the brother Layman. Check him out. I'll leave the link in the description. It's your boy Calvin King. And this is how I'm enjoying my Friday.